versus Instagram? Which platform is the right fit for you? And should you be ditching Instagram and going all in on Pinterest in 2024? That's all of what we're going to be covering in today's video. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Braden McKee, and I am a marketing and content strategy coach for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So if you are looking to monetize your content, you want to make more sales in your business, and you want to finally develop a content strategy that works for you, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you can follow along and learn new content and marketing strategies. So I don't know about you, but I feel like right now I am seeing so many people who are really tired of Instagram, and they are saying that they're going to switch and go all in on the Pinterest platform. And so I thought it would be a really good idea to talk about the differences between Pinterest and Instagram and talk a little bit about what platform might be the right fit for you, or if you should be using both. And my answer might surprise you, because if you're following along on this channel, you probably have seen my early content so far has been about Pinterest marketing. But does that mean that I am anti-Instagram? Well, let me just get to the, cut to the chase. I am not anti-Instagram. I have frustrations personally with Instagram. I've had struggles with Instagram in some ways or another, and I have some changed beliefs about Instagram as a whole, but I'm not anti-Instagram. And in fact, I don't believe that you should probably be ditching Instagram altogether to go all in on Pinterest, because they're just different platforms, and I believe they serve different purposes. And we're going to talk about that right now. So let's get into the main differences between Instagram and Pinterest. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about strategy and what I think you should be using each platform for. The very first thing I want to talk about is the audience and the intent with Pinterest users versus Instagram users. So with Pinterest users, they are typically going to Pinterest to specifically look for something. They're looking for ideas, inspiration, they're looking to plan a project or maybe a purchase. They are going and they are intentionally searching within the search bar. Whereas on Instagram, somebody is more likely to go and be scrolling for entertainment, for fun, to keep up with friends and family, and that's how they are using the platform. Now, Instagram is also a place where a lot of users do heavily interact with brands that they are interested in and brands that have a good brand presence on the Instagram platform. So the audience and intent between the two platforms is very, very different. When you're thinking about Pinterest users, they're going there very intentionally and they're looking for something. Whereas on Instagram, somebody is going for fun or out of habit, and they may be looking for something, but they also may not. They may be just seeing what Instagram is serving them and interacting with that content or moving on to the next thing in the line of reels or stories, whatever it might be. So the audience and what they're going there for on the two platforms is very different. And when we talk about content strategy in just a little bit, that is going to be one of the biggest differences, and the things that you need to keep differentiated between the two platforms is the intent when the user goes to each of the two platforms. Now, let's compare the content types and formats between the two platforms. So Pinterest is a visual search engine, and most of the content that is going to perform well on Pinterest is going to be either a vertical video or a vertical static post, or a vertical graphic, if you will. So all of the content is going to be in that tall vertical format. The minimum recommended size by Pinterest is recommended to be 1000 by 1500 pixels. And with that, it's not going to be as much of the trendy content, whereas Instagram, a lot of trends perform really well, and there's trend after trend after trend. And so the content type is a little bit different. Now, Instagram has more of a variety. You have just standalone static posts, graphics, if you will, or photos. You have vertical videos. You have carousel posts, which could be could be videos and photos that, create multiple slides for somebody to look through. You have vertical videos with the Reels, and any other videos on Instagram is now going into that Reels tab. And then you also have the stories on Instagram, which are vertical video, but that's like more behind the scenes. And you also have live video. Now, Pinterest also does have some more community features rolling out, which I think we could probably just leave for a different video altogether to talk about the community features being released on Pinterest. So let's just kind of put that off to the side for now. But just know that on Pinterest, you've got two main interacted formats right now, in that you have a static or a video vertical, in the vertical format. Whereas on Instagram, depending on the brand or the account and also who is viewing the content, you could have 4 to 5 different types of content being utilized and interacted with on one app for Instagram. So the formats are quite varied on Instagram, whereas Pinterest is really quite known for just that vertical graphic image, and then they started adding in video, short form video, a couple of years ago. Now, I mentioned that the trends don't really perform well on Pinterest, and with Pinterest being a search engine, it's because what's trending today is not really going to show up in Pinterest search today. It's going to show up in a couple months from now. So a trend that is 2 weeks long or maybe less on Instagram or even TikTok is going to be irrelevant by the time that it's able to be found in search on the Pinterest platform. So that is where you have to keep just the differences in the formats. And on Instagram, you're kind of having to keep tabs of multiple different formats, whereas on Pinterest, you're pretty much focused in and you know what type of content is there. And unless Pinterest starts rolling out even more of these community features, you're not really having to vary the content types on the platform as much as you are on Instagram, which could be easier for you. Or you could be saying, okay, that's a little boring. Like, can we get some variety? It's definitely something that is just very different between the platforms. And I think it's a personal preference for the brand or the account and the creator, and also your audience and what they prefer to watch. Like, I don't really watch a lot of live videos on Instagram, but I know people that do. And so you have to take that into account on Instagram versus on Pinterest. People don't really have an option. Number 3 that I want to talk about is being found through search versus discovery. So I mentioned just a minute ago that Pinterest is a visual search engine. So think about Pinterest as a very aesthetically pleasing Google. People are going there and they're going to the search bar and they're specifically typing in a phrase, trying to find something related to that phrase. So they are going with the intention to find information based on their search and keywords that they are using within the Pinterest platform. Now on Instagram, it's more of a discovery platform where they are going and Instagram is feeding them content based on the algorithm and their user activity to feed them content that they think the user is going to like. So they are much more likely to consume and kind of sit back and discover brands based on what Instagram is feeding them. Now, some people do go and search more on Instagram, or they may be searching for something specifically or hear about something or a brand somewhere else and search on Instagram. But the search capabilities and the functionalities on Instagram are a lot more limited than they are on Pinterest, because Pinterest has literally created the whole platform around search, whereas Instagram did not, and now they are adding the search capabilities into it. But because Pinterest intentionally created the platform around search, they have all the functionalities built in and they've continued to expand and update. And with Instagram, it just hasn't been the main focus. Their main focus was photo sharing and community and interaction and things like that. Whereas the Pinterest platform is designed to help users find inspiration, ideas, and even brands that they are specifically looking for that match their keywords and the phrases they are using in the search on the Pinterest platform. So their intentions really are so different. And it's not that either one is better, but if you're going to Pinterest, you have to know that somebody is going to specifically be looking for information, and you need to know what they're looking for and what to feed them. Versus Instagram, you're relying more on the back end data of, did people interact with this? Did they share it? Did they save it? To know if that content is working for you and if what you're creating is what people are looking for. So from a brand and a creator's perspective, your process is going to be quite different on the two platforms, because the way that your ideal customers or your ideal audience is using the platform is just varied. And it's really like you've got one camp over here who's intentional, and you've got one camp over here that's like, you know, hey, brands, come to me and I'm going to see if I like your content or not. So that in itself is one of the biggest differences, and the main things that the intentionality of the user behavior when they go to the app and how they're finding brands and how they are coming across creators and brands that they want to continue to follow or learn from or maybe buy something from. It's just two different processes. The next big differences that we need to discuss is the engagement and interaction patterns of users on Pinterest versus Instagram. So on Pinterest, the Pinterest platform actually really encourages a user to go and search and to explore content by clicking outbound to that piece of content, which is going to take them to potentially another app, a website, maybe a landing page. And they're also going to encourage users to save those pieces of content for later to refer back to and to come back to when they're farther along in the planning process. Whereas Instagram is really going to encourage users to save, share, and then like the content immediately and go into the DM. So they're really trying to keep people on the app. So if you're thinking about, how do I create content and how do I build my brand with Pinterest versus Instagram, the user behavior and how they engage and interact with the content is quite different, and the platforms have a big say in that. I don't think we're ever going to see Instagram really encourage people to leave the app, whereas Pinterest does. And Pinterest, they want to keep people on their app as well, but they know, and they've created an environment where it is very friendly for brands and creators to make sure that the users are leaving the app and then they're going to come back to Pinterest and keep searching. Whereas Instagram really does not want that. And so they've encouraged a different engagement strategy for their users, and they encourage brands to keep people within the platform. And that's why doing things in the DMs works really well. Now, there are DMs and messages on Pinterest, and there are commenting abilities on Pinterest as well, but that is not the norm with Pinterest. So if you're thinking I have to post a pin and then stay on for 20 minutes to engage and do the whole engagement strategy, you don't, because to be honest, that content isn't going to be found. And the amount of comments and like live interaction and engagement is not really going to be much on Pinterest at all, versus Instagram, that really does need to be a part of your strategy, because Pinterest or Instagram wants you to stay on the app, and they want to keep people in the comments, in the DMs. They want to keep people sharing everything within the app rather than leaving the app to go to another piece of content. Okay, I know this is the one that you guys want to know about the most, and that is marketing and monetization opportunities on Pinterest versus on Instagram. So with Pinterest is actually a very brand-friendly platform. Now, you can absolutely run ads on both platforms, but Pinterest has been able to integrate with especially product sellers directly with their websites. Like if you have Shopify or even if you have an Etsy store, they have back-end technical capabilities to make it easier on the user to shop right from within Pinterest or to easily get notified of sales and things like that. You can also, like I said, run ads, and you can send people to your content to monetize. So to products, to service pages, even to your lead magnets to grow your email list to, notify of sales, notify of new products, things like that. There are some brand collaboration opportunities on Pinterest, and I actually think this is a really underutilized aspect for people to be creating collaborations and doing brand partnerships and everything. But we're not seeing as much of that on Pinterest, although I do think it's a very viable platform for it, and you do have the opportunity. You can also do affiliate marketing on Pinterest. Now, if you're listening to people who are saying, start affiliate marketing on Pinterest and you're going to be able to make $3,000, $10,000 in 30 days, it's not going to work that fast. But long term, it's a great platform to monetize and increase your brand awareness and your email list and even increase your sales. Now, on the other hand, Instagram also now has shopping integrated. So you see both platforms really kind of keeping track, like keeping pace with each other in terms of integrating shop. We also see that with TikTok, although we're not talking about TikTok today. But you can see that the shopping on the platforms directly and integrating shopping features is very popular and it works. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have a shopping cart on Instagram for sure of boutiques that I found that I liked an item and I'm like, hey, I want to make sure that I come back and maybe buy this item later. Or I have directly bought things from shops I have found on Instagram. Now, I've also directly bought things I found on Pinterest, although I didn't check out from the Pinterest page, but I directly checked out on their website. So shopping is a capability on both platforms. Now, Instagram also has ads and sponsored posts. So again, Pinterest and Instagram are kind of, they're competing. They're kind of on the same level. When I think of ads and sponsored posts, I think both are really on the same track. You can see sponsored posts and ads just as much on both platforms. Now, where I think that Instagram stands out is if you are a creator, is the collaboration and brand deal side of the Instagram platform. I feel that Instagram has become known for creators and influencers to do brand partnerships and collaborations to help you monetize as a creator and also help the brand monetize and get in front of another audience. So when we think about monetization opportunities, if you are a creator, let's say you're a blogger, you're a podcaster, you're a content creator in general, you're creating, consumable content and you want to start doing brand deals and collaborations, I would say that Instagram is a very friendly platform for that. And I think that they're consumed well. Now, I'm not going to get into like always doing brand deals and collaborations because that's a different topic altogether. But overall, I think it's a good strategy and Instagram is a really good platform for that. Like I said, with Pinterest, the opportunities are there. I just don't think they're as utilized as much right now, or I'm just not seeing them be fully utilized, or there's brands that don't realize the brand collaboration and sponsored, collab brand deal opportunities that are on Pinterest at the moment. Wrap up with a little bit of content strategy. So both platforms have a lot of good things going for them. And honestly, I don't think you should be ditching Instagram for Pinterest or ditching Pinterest for Instagram. I really think that you should be using both, and the strategy and what you're using each of them for is just going to be different. So if you are a brand and you are on Instagram currently, this is a great place to further build connection with your audience. This is to really brand yourself or your business and keep that top of mind awareness. Have conversations in the DMs. Encourage people to save and share your content. This is really where you want to nurture the relationship. We are going to do another conversation down the road about the buyer journey, but if somebody's following you on Instagram, they're a little bit aware of you because they followed you. And now your job is to continue to nurture them and warm them up to sell to them later on or to continue to sell to them over time. They may be a past customer of yours as well, and you want to stay in front of them. So with Instagram, your strategy really should be to create more conversation, relatability, and just keep that top of mind and brand awareness. Now on Pinterest, your goal is going to be completely different. Most of the time on Pinterest, somebody is early on in the process and you're thinking about a lot of times like type A planners who are really organized. They want to plan, they want to know the information, right? Which means they're very top of funnel. They're not usually ready to make a buying decision when they're on Pinterest. Now, they may come back to Pinterest multiple times within the buying process. That is very likely. But if you're expecting that Pinterest is going to be your lead generator, that you're going to post a product or something, and they're going to find you one time and immediately go and buy from you or sign up for something, you need to check your expectations and think about where they're at in the journey. You on Pinterest are trying to get discovered by matching your content with the search phrases and keywords that your ideal audience or customer is using. And then you need to get them to a platform where you can stay in front of them and nurture them, give them information. So on Pinterest, I want you to think about sending people to your Instagram account. I want you to send them to an email lead magnet landing page where you can stay in front of them on email and nurture them through email. Invite them to go follow you on social media where you can continue to warm them up on 2 different channels. Or maybe you're sending them to high level, really valuable content like YouTube videos, podcast episodes, blogs, website articles you have, whatever it might be that is really your highly valuable content, more of your long form content. That is your goal with Pinterest. Ideally, if you're using both, somebody's going to find you on Pinterest, then they're going to follow you on Instagram and they're going to join your email newsletter, or maybe one of those comes a little bit before the other. You're going to nurture them. Maybe they go back to Pinterest and they go back to their saved board and they go to your website or they go to something else from you because they have gone back to their board and they're kind of like reviewing their options. They're continuing to search and look for information. You continue to stay in front of them on Instagram. You continue to stay in front of them through email, and then you sell to them, and then hopefully they become a buyer, a customer of yours, or a client, right? And so your goal really should be to integrate Pinterest and Instagram. I think the conversation should be less about should I be on Pinterest, should I be on Instagram, should I be on both, should I ditch one for the other? And it should be more about how do I maximize my strategy on both to increase my audience, grow my email list, and better bring people through the client journey, the buyer funnel, or just to really build that brand awareness and that community so that you can maximize your sales, or if you're a creator, you can maximize your audience to be able to monetize with ads and to do brand partnerships so you can monetize your content. So I really think that if I'm looking at most brands and creators, they should be on both Pinterest and Instagram. And I think it can be overwhelming, but the great news is that with Pinterest, it's a much more passive platform, and you really don't need to be active and posting, every single day. You can schedule your content for a whole month ahead of time and not look at it again for 3 weeks. You don't have to be active on it for hours each day. And even on Instagram, you do have to be much more active to maximize your efforts there. But I still think there's ways to batch content and to get into a workflow that works for you. I think most creators, brands need to not look at Pinterest versus Instagram, but they need to look at the buyer or the client journey. How do they take people from discovery to nurture, to warming them up, having a relationship with them, to then having them buy something from you, whether that be a product, physical, digital, or a service, or maybe just buying something that you are partnered with on a collaboration or a brand deal, right? I really hope this video was helpful for you. And if you have any questions about Pinterest versus Instagram or anything in between about social media marketing, content marketing strategy, drop your comments below. And will you do me a quick favor and subscribe to this channel? I would love to keep you updated on content marketing strategy to help you to grow your business or to monetize your content for you bloggers and podcasters and video creators. And I will see you guys on the next video.